else action, buddy, whenever you're ready.
I've been recording the whole time.
Alright. Oh, let me get this down. Alright.
Hello there. We don't have any music playing.
There ain't no music. That's what you edit, man. That's what editing is for.
How long a video can these record?
I don't know. You need to stop and restart it now, though.
No, this is good stuff.
I don't know how.
This
that
is
could
good.
be the
This is bloopers.
That could be the extra features. Just restart a real video. Because I don't know how long this can.
And then, like a year from now, we'll release like a bloopers tape with all the fucking tapes of Caleb being a dick to us. Little do you know what we go through.
What's up, creepers? I'm Sharkbait.
Alright, there. I'm Whiskey Fed.
We're gonna be reviewing Steakland.
Steakland. And I'm not talking about your T-bones. I'm talking about steaks, like vampire steaks, because this is a vampire movie. Set in a post-apocalyptic.
This movie is set in a post-apocalyptic America, I want to say. I don't know if it's set in America, but it's almost like a zombie takeover of a vampire movie. If you put in your head Zombieland mixed with The Walking Dead, mixed with
John Carpenter's vampire. It's a really interesting way to look at a vampire film because it treats the vampire as almost like a virus instead of like almost like a privilege like other vampires movies look at it. And in other vampire movies, they look at being a vampire as being, I don't know, it's almost like in a romantic sense, where they look at being a vampire as, you know, you live forever, you can seduce any woman, but it's not like that in this one. It's more primitive. It's much more brutal than usually portrayed by a vampire film, which is a lot different compared to most. So,
I never seen any other films by Mickle. This is actually one of those random Netflix gems that I found. Which is kind of the perk of having Netflix, I guess, because there's so much garbage on there, and you randomly will find
bullshit.
something worth watching. And I was glad I found it because I'm definitely going to keep telling people to watch it, which is the main reason why we're reviewing it.
The movie stars a kid named Connor Paulo as Martin, who is a teenager. His parents get killed by a group of vampires at their farmhouse. He actually gets saved by a guy named Mister, who's played by Nick D'Amici, and the character Mister takes him under his wing and basically treats him as almost like a young Padawan.
If we're gonna make a Star Wars reference, like this guy always does, I mean, I don't know.
Anyways, so he trains him basically under his wing to be like a badass, basically, because the Mister's a vampire hunter, and you kind of go throughout the movie finding out the vampire hunters are kind of few, far, and in between, and there's not a lot of people going around murking these motherfuckers. So basically, you have a guy that's going around doing it is very well respected in the communities that they go to. So, but the character Mister is like straight up like Mickey Rourke. I mean, the whole time watching the movie, the guy looks like a Spanish version of Mickey Rourke, and I mean, he's a badass. He's a real cool character. And I don't know, it's like they don't really give any history on him, which is kind of frustrating for me because I like to know about characters or histories, you know, I like to read into things. And the fact that you know nothing about Mr. I mean, it's kind of cool to a certain degree, but, you know, like, what's his motivation?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It doesn't really, if you think about it, it doesn't make too much sense because there's a specific scene in the movie where there's this nun getting chased across the road by these two guys, and Mister will get out of the car, and he just completely
murks them.
He really does. I mean, and it never says in the movie if they're vampires or if they're just guys who were looking to freaking rape this nun. And he kills him, and Martin is sitting in the car. He's like, "Man, where did all that anger come from?" And it, like Whiskey Fett was saying, it never explains that. But I mean, you kind of roll with it. Because the movie, it doesn't really slow down the whole time.
You're not really thinking about it. You're not like thinking about it because it just kind of keeps it keep rolling through. At one point, they meet a cult.
The Brotherhood.
The Brotherhood.
Yeah.
The Brotherhood is basically like a post-apocalyptic Ku Klux Klan. Basically a bunch of skinheads. They're ran by high priest guy. They think they're holier than thou. They think
They're saying they're doing God's work.
They definitely think that the virus was sent there by God himself to cleanse the world of probably anything the Westboro Baptist Church says that the world needs to be cleansed of. Basically, if the Westboro Baptist Church survived through the apocalypse, they would turn into the Brotherhood. And they have a constant radio stream around that. I think it's pretty much the only thing that's on the radio all the time, spreading this propaganda about what they believe in, and everybody's pretty much screwed because God thinks this is its will and everything. So it's an interesting way to cut that out.
Yeah, I mean, it goes into. I mean, it's like a very small like religious like insert into the movie, and they didn't really need to do it, but it kind of makes Mister into like a more of a
Martyr or something.
Powerful martyr character than he is when he ends up like chaining the leader of the Brotherhood to. Well, I don't want to ruin the movie for you, so I'm not even going to give you that spoiler.
We don't want to ruin anything.
Yeah, I mean, just know that the Brotherhood has a small role, but it could potentially turn into something huge in the movie. But it gets eliminated. I guess is all I'll say.
How many of those things have you killed?
I mean, it's a really beautifully shot film. It opens out with the movie opens up with a shot of basically like some hills and a road, and just this really haunting, like almost like Mississippi Delta blues song playing, and it cuts back to a sign for a town that says Pottsville and has a hole cut out like where the population is, and it's a really it's a nice foreshadowing of kind of like what kind of state of decay like the whole world's in at that point. It's just a really like haunting opening for. It kind of sets the tone for the whole movie. I mean, it's pretty gritty, so.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's what cutting is for.
The whole movie is basically. I mean, I referred to Zombieland in the beginning of the review, and it's almost like these. After something huge like this happens, an apocalypse, whether it's zombies, vampires, whatever you want to make a movie about, these people seek to find a refuge of some sort where they can go and not have to worry about it. And New Eden is the place in this particular movie that Martin and Mister are trying to get to. And they pick up random people along the way, one of them being a pregnant chick. And there's never...
Scream Queen Danielle Harris, by the way.
Yeah, true. She's been in Hatchet 2 and several other movies that she's played.
Halloween.
Kind of a similar role.
Remake.
In.
And The Curse of Michael Myers, Part 5.
Yeah.
Part 6.
Well, anyways, there's not any other real main characters outside of Martin and Mister. They meet people along the way and kind of pick them up here and there. But yeah, I mean that's kind of our review. I mean, unless there's more to say.
It's a really enjoyable film. It's kind of come out of left field. It's definitely an underdog. I really enjoyed it. If we were to score out of 10 out of my 5, I'd probably give it like a 4. Probably give it like a 4.5. I'd say 4.5.
I'm right there with you between 4 and 5. I mean, I didn't expect it at all. I had zero hope going into the movie, and it was awesome to actually see it. So I would even give it like a 4, probably a 4. So I mean,
we'll say 9.5 out of 10. So
yeah.
Wait,
so,
it's 8.5 out of 10. It was a 9.
It'd be 8.5.
8.5.
So Monster Review total would be 8.5 out of 10 combined between the two of us. I'm glad that I found it. Honestly,
he recommended it to me actually, so it's good.
Yeah, it's been cool though.
Cool. Stay creeper, my friends.
Stay creepy.
Stay creepy.
Creep it real.
Grow your beards, faggots.
Call me Martin. I've seen things you wouldn't believe. Things a boy shouldn't see. But I'm not a normal boy anymore. And it ain't a normal world. Get used to it. That's what Mister tells me. We live by his rules, or we die. Or worse, we die and we come back. But let's begin at the beginning. I was like any other kid. I had a family. I went to school. I didn't believe in the boogeyman. But then the world woke up to a nightmare.
What's up, guys? I'm Sharkbait.
Hi there, I'm Phil Blank. You're the boss, man. I told you to introduce yourself. We're gonna have to do like probably like
That's not how.
we're gonna edit it though. You know what
Yeah,
you're talking about.
you should have been
we're
like,
not gonna be like
3,
one continuous.
2.
Yeah, we're not gonna go like.
Oh, do my research.
You must be
Freaking
new-
IMDb
you must
right
be new
now.
at this, man. I'm on Wikipedia, you dickhead.
This movie
Out there.
is set in a
What is your fucking
post-apocalyptic.
problem back there? You fucking.
This movie is.
Are you serious? This is gonna take forever.